Most people only use plastic wrap to cover food, but it can do so much more than that. Today, I'm going to share 7 simple yet incredibly useful tricks that might make you look at a roll of plastic wrap in a completely different way. Let's start with a trick that many people overlook when freezing food. I often prepare hamburger patties ahead of time and freeze them so they're ready whenever I need a quick meal. But there's one problem if you stack them directly on top of each other once they freeze. The patties can stick together into one solid block. So instead of stacking them directly, place a layer of plastic wrap between each patty. Add one patty, then a layer of plastic wrap, and keep repeating until the container is full. This simple barrier prevents the patties from sticking together as they freeze. Now just seal the container tightly and place it in the freezer. When you need one look at this, each patty separates easily without having to thaw the entire container. You can take out exactly as many as you need and leave the rest safely in the freezer. And now that you have individually frozen hamburger patties ready to go, simply take one out and cook it in a skillet until it's fully cooked through. It really saves so much time in the kitchen, doesn't it? Next is another plastic wrap trick that can make cleaning much less frustrating. If you sweep your floors regularly, you've probably run into this problem countless times. Hair gets tangled around the broom bristles. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but after a few days, the broom becomes covered with hair that's surprisingly difficult to pull off. You spend almost as much time cleaning the broom as you do cleaning the floor. Instead, try this simple trick. Before you start sweeping, wrap a layer of plastic wrap around the broom head. Just a few turns are enough. The broom will still work exactly as it normally does. Dust, crumbs, and dirt will sweep up without any problem. But here's the difference. Instead of wrapping tightly around the bristles, much of the hair collects on the plastic wrap itself. When you're finished sweeping, there's no need to sit there pulling strands of hair out one by one. Simply remove the plastic wrap and throw it away. Your broom stays cleaner and the entire cleanup process takes only a few seconds. What's harder to clean in your home? Pet hair or human hair? Let me know in the comments. Next's another clever use for plastic wrap that becomes especially useful when the seasons change. Every year when it's time to put away thick blankets and bedding, the same problem appears. They take up a surprising amount of space. But there's a simple solution. Start by folding the blanket as neatly as you normally would. Once it's folded, take a roll of plastic wrap and begin wrapping it around the blanket. As you wrap, gently press down on the blanket. This helps push excess air out while keeping everything tightly compressed. Continue wrapping until the entire blanket is secured. You'll immediately notice the difference. The blanket becomes much more compact and easier to store. But space saving isn't the only benefit. The plastic wrap also acts as a barrier against dust, dirt, and moisture that can collect during storage. So when the weather changes again and it's time to bring the blanket back out, it's already clean and ready to use. No need to shake off dust or wash it again before putting it on the bed. This is a particularly helpful trick for families living in apartments or homes with limited storage space. Now you might be wondering, plastic wrap is useful for cleaning and storage, But does it have any clever uses in the kitchen? Absolutely. Think about foods that contain liquid or sauce. Soup, stew, curry, braised dishes. Sauces or leftovers with plenty of juices. Most of us simply put the food into a container and snap the lid on. When you open the container, the entire underside of the lid is covered with grease sauce and condensation. Instead, try adding one extra step. Before putting the lid on, stretch a layer of plastic wrap tightly across the top of the container. Make sure it's sealed around the edges. Then place the lid on as usual. Now the plastic wrap acts as an additional barrier. The grease and liquid stay on the plastic wrap instead of coating the lid. When you're ready to eat, simply remove the wrap and most of the mess goes with it. There's another advantage too. Because the container is sealed twice, it's much less likely to leak if it's moved around. It's such a simple kitchen habit, but once you start doing it, you'll wonder how you ever stored saucy leftovers without it. The next trick may be the most surprising one in this video. Have you ever bought a beautiful bunch of bananas only to watch them turn brown and overripe? A few days later, most people think that's just normal. But part of the problem is actually how bananas are stored. When you bring bananas home, take a close look at the stem where all the bananas are connected together. If there are any dry or wilted pieces, trim them off gently. Then take a piece of plastic wrap and tightly wrap the stem of the banana bunch. That's it. It sounds almost too simple to make a difference, but this is a trick my mother has used for as long as I can remember whenever there were bananas in the house. The reason it works is that bananas naturally release ethylene gas as they ripen. Much of that gas is released through the stem area. By wrapping the stem, you help slow the spread of that gas, which can delay the ripening process. The result: the bananas stay fresh looking longer, the peels remain brighter, and they don't develop dark spots nearly as quickly. Instead of rushing to eat them before they become overripe, you can enjoy them over a much longer period of time. It's one of those old-fashioned household tricks that has been passed down through generations, and after trying it myself, I can see exactly why my mother never stopped using it. Plastic wrap can also be incredibly helpful when you're baking. If you've ever sifted flour, you know exactly what happens. No matter how careful you are, a fine cloud of flour seems to escape into the air and land everywhere. Here's a simple trick. Place your sifter over the bowl as usual. Then stretch a sheet of plastic wrap across the top, covering the bowl and surrounding the sifter. Now sift the flour underneath the plastic wrap. As the flour falls through the sifter, any light particles that would normally float into the air are stopped by the plastic wrap instead. The flour stays exactly where you want it in the bowl. When you're finished, simply remove the plastic wrap. Take a look around. The flour is in the bowl. The countertop is still clean, and you won't have a layer of white dust covering your kitchen. What do you bake most often? Cakes, cookies, bread, or pancakes? Let me know in the comments. And now for the final tip, one that I think every home cook will appreciate. Have you ever bought a large bunch of green onions, used a few stalks, and then forgotten about the rest? The good news is that green onions can last much longer if they're stored the right way. Remove any yellow, damaged, or wilted leaves. Those older leaves can trap moisture and cause the rest of the bunch to spoil more quickly. Next, take plastic wrap and gently wrap the green onions into small bundles. Try not to make the bundles too large. Smaller bundles allow better air circulation and make it easier to take out only what you need without disturbing the rest. Once wrapped, place the bundles into a zip-top bag and store them in the refrigerator's crisper drawer. The plastic wrap helps maintain the right amount of moisture while protecting the onions from drying out. When stored this way, green onions can stay fresh and usable for up to a month. That means fewer trips to the store, less food waste, and more money saved over time. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Which of these plastic wrap tricks surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed these tips, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves clever household shortcuts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.